UMaine students gathered to march against domestic violence today. This was the university's 11th annual march, spreading awareness about the realities of domestic abuse. Senator Susan Collins, Title IX representatives, and members of Partners for Peace spoke to students at the event. There was also a remembrance ceremony at the end of the walk, honoring the lives of local community members that have died from domestic violence in the past year. Organizers say it's crucial for college students to know the signs and to support their peers, as domestic abuse rates are the highest in people ages 16 to 24.
It's so wonderful to see these students really coming together, holding on to one another, supporting each other who have experience with domestic violence, but also people who are just showing up to support other people. It's so heartwarming, and I think lets survivors know that they're not alone and they will be believed if they say something.
Each and every one of us has an obligation to speak up and to show that we care.
Partners for Peace is available for anyone in Penobscot and Piscataquis counties that has been affected by domestic violence. For a list of resources available to UMaine students, you can follow the link on our website.